Hello, welcome to One on One. I'm your host, Greg Walker. Hopefully you tuned in last week. We had show number 1 with our guest. Today, we will have show number 2. Once again, joining us, Bill Poland. Of course, Bill Poland, the law offices of William H. Poland. And Bill is a Clarksville guy, graduated from Clarksville High School. He was a great athlete in school. We're going to talk about his military career a little bit today as well. Also his times as an athlete and student at Ole Miss, and much, much more. We'll also talk about these baseballs, all of these great signatures that his dad and Bill have accrued over the years. All of this and much more coming up on this edition of One on One. Settle back, relax. Another fun, down-to-earth conversation with a nice gentleman. Bill Poland joins us right after these words.
Thank you. It's the big savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. New Altima or New Frontier, $17,999. Unbelievable. New Rogue, $18,999. New Sentra, $14,999. New Versa, $9,999. Save big on 400 new. You're going to love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're going to love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home has honored legacies. We believe every family deserves a special time of celebrating a life well lived.
Neil Tarpley Parchman, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome to our show. This is show number 2. Bill Poland joins us again this week. Great having you back.
Thank you, Greg.
We had fun last week. Hopefully we do again. You know, we talked a little bit about your family last week, talked about your daughter Erin in practice with you. How's your wife? You've been married, what, 42 years?
It'll be 42 years in August. That's quite a while.
Yes, it is.
Very lucky man, married my high school sweetheart, and we lost touch after high school. Her dad was in the military, and they moved away to Okinawa. But while I was in the Army, I ran into her brother next in age, and to her, and I found out where Ann was. We started corresponding, and while I was overseas, exchanged letters, and came back and dated for a few months and got married.
That's a great story. 42 years in this day and time is an amazing feat anyway.
Absolutely.
You know, 50% of the people that marry divorce. 42 years. Now, we talked about it last week. Clarksville, you went to Ole Miss. Why did you choose Ole Miss as your college of choice, Bill?
My brother Hugh had gone down there on baseball scholarship, and I went down there and visited a few times with him, and I think that was probably the biggest factor. Ole Miss wasn't really a basketball powerhouse back in the 60s, and I was fortunate enough to have some offers from some pretty good basketball schools, but I just kind of fell in love with Ole Miss. And
did Johnny Newman go down there?
Yes.
Was he there when you were there?
No, he was
after you?
A couple of years after I was there.
A couple of years after you.
Phenom.
He was a phenom.
He was a phenom.
He could wear it out.
Yeah.
But did you play all, 3 of the 4 years?
Right.
Of course, you didn't play.
I was, back then, you had your freshman team, and then you'd move up to varsity, and they were trying to rebuild or build a program at Ole Miss, and I kind of got caught in a situation where I wish they had redshirted me my sophomore year, which would have given me one more year of eligibility, and then these good players that they've been recruiting would have come up, and I would have had an opportunity to have been in that group. But I actually was redshirted half a year, and one of our guards, Glenn Lusk, injured his knee real bad, and so they took me off the redshirt list and started playing me. Yeah, so.
Had to play. Now, when you graduated from Ole Miss, did you go in the service?
Yes. That was in 24th of June, 1968, that I enlisted in the Uncle Sam's Army.
You enlisted?
Yeah.
Went in as a lieutenant?
No, went in as a private E1. You know.
Really?
Yeah. Went to basic and.
Even with a college degree?
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. How did that go?
Well.
And what made you do that?
You know, they had the draft back then, okay? And for very selfish, I knew I graduated from college, and I knew that
you were going to be drafted.
I was going to be drafted, and for very selfish reasons, I didn't want to go in the Army in the wintertime and go to basic training in the winter. We were so cold. So I just went ahead and enlisted in June, and they sent me to Fort Dix and warm weather.
Yeah.
And basic and AIT.
New Jersey.
And then I went to OCS at Fort Benning and graduated there in May of '69 as a second lieutenant. And stayed on as a TAC officer with the OCS company, and then got sent to Panama for jungle warfare training, and 2 weeks later sent to Vietnam.
And you were in Vietnam for a year?
Yeah.
One tour, right?
One tour, yeah. Came back, and I was fortunate to get stationed at Fort Campbell, close to home. And I actually extended my time in the service, and I made captain. So I was on active duty 4 years. And you might remember Ed Norman.
I do.
Who was president
of the bank.
President of the bank, and he was real big in the National Guard.
Yeah, tragically killed, by the way.
Yeah, and Tennessee National Guard, and he saw me in the bank one day in my military uniform, and asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I'm getting out of the Army, and he said, you're getting the National Guard, aren't you? I didn't know what the National Guard was. He said, come in here, boy, and talk to me. So I went back in his office, and he said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going back to Ole Miss to graduate school. And he said, he turned around, picked up the phone, called the brigade headquarters in Mississippi National Guard, and got me a job in the Mississippi National Guard. So that's how I started the National Guard, and I stayed in there until I retired in 2000. So
2000.
So I had 32 years military, active in reserve, active in National Guard.
Now, you write well, Bill. If you're not a friend of his on Facebook, or if you don't read, you've written some really very interesting things about your time in Vietnam and all. But how old were you when you were in 22?
Well, that was
about
1970, about 26.
About 26.
26, yeah.
So you were a whole lot older than a lot of guys that were.
Well, yeah, I'd gone to college and all that, you know.
But that had to be that experience, that whole experience. There's no place like home, is it?
Oh, no. There's nothing you can read, and there's nothing you can see to tell you really how that experience was. And I was an infantry platoon leader, and I was down there where the rubber meets the road, and just one of those things that the country was in a mess, and
you had to do your part.
You had to do your job. You had to do your job.
That's the bottom line. And you've always been about doing your job, haven't you?
That's what you got to do.
I mean, whether it be athletics or whatever,
Yeah.
when I think of Bill Poland, you get the job done, right?
Well, I like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you're that type person, without question. Came back, though, got into law practice,
Yeah.
and you've been there ever since.
I'm sorry. I've been what?
In law, practicing law ever since.
I graduated from law school at Ole Miss in 1976, and stayed there and practiced law for approximately a year, and then moved to Clarksville and went in practice with you.
Now, we got to take a break here in a few minutes, but we got these baseballs that have been sitting here, and grab one here, Bill. I mean, these, I guess your dad got a lot of these signatures.
Yeah, he got all of them.
Really?
I've never done anything like
Well,
that.
I mean, you know, we're talking about from Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, and, you know, last week, if you didn't tune in, his dad was in baseball for 40 years.
Yeah, at least.
You know, at least. Played in the majors, managed in the minors, was a scout. He did it all. I mean, these baseballs, just seeing Stan Musial, you can just go on and on with just, you know, if you hadn't heard of some of these.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, I would have said Jackie Robinson, Bobby Bragan. He even coached the Braves at one time. Who is that? That's not Pete Rose. That's not him. Surely.
That was the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dodgers team. There's your Jackie Robinson. Real low. Some of them is hard to read anymore. Clyde King. I didn't think about him in the Dodgers. You know. What is, I mean, Dizzy Dean.
Yeah.
And Paul Dean signed twice, didn't he?
Yes, it is. That's unusual on that ball for some reason.
Now look how old this ball here is.
Well, this has got, I think this was the first year my dad was in spring training with the St. Louis Cardinals. It's dated March 20th, 1935. And it's got Dizzy Dean and Paul Dean there.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if the camera can.
Oh, it's
can
no
bring
way
that
to
in.
get that, I don't think.
And then Paul Dean signed the ball again over here for some reason. And of course, Dizzy and Paul were brothers. And it is what it is.
I mean, you know, he was around a lot of Hall of Famers, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He got called to the press box when they were having the minor league game of the week when my dad was managing Nashville Vols.
Mm-hmm.
And Dizzy was the announcer, radio announcer there. And my dad was on the third base line and in the coach's box. And, of course, the Nashville team was at bat, and the batter hit a ball, just a line shot, and it hit the third base bag and went foul. But it was a fair ball.
Fair ball,
because it hit
obviously.
the bag.
Because it hit the bag.
So the umpire called it a foul ball.
Uh-oh.
And my dad got in an argument with the umpire and got thrown out of the game. And Dizzy sent for Dad, who was in the clubhouse, and said, "Come on up and get on the radio." So he went up there, and they were talking about the game, one thing and another, and then Dizzy said, "Hugh, what do you think that third base umpire would do if he saw you up here talking to old Diz?" And Dad said, "Well, I don't think he can see that far." Of course, they didn't have fax machines back then, but they had teletype, and the league president sent a teletype to a dad and said, "Get off the air and you're fined $50. So that's a true story.
That's a great story. That's a great story. One-on-one, show number 2, Bill Poland. Segment 2 coming up after this. That's a good story. Hopefully you tune in to Heartland Radio, the only locally owned, locally operated radio stations in the area. 105.1 on the FM, WVRY, and the oldest station around, 1400 AM, WJZM. Tennessee Vol Sports, Austin Peay Sports, the Atlanta Braves, news, talk, weather, and great music. Solid Gospel, 105.1 and 1400 AM WJZM. Tune in.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
Our guest, show number 2, Bill Poland. Had fun with you, Bill.
Enjoyed
Really
it.
had.
Enjoyed it.
Now I'm going to have some real fun because I want to ask some of my fun questions.
Some off-the-wall questions.
Well, you know, I don't know about that. What's the best advice you'd ever received?
Well, my dad used to say, do the best you can with what you got.
That's sound in any avenue, any walk of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else can you do but the best you can with what you have?
Well, you can quit, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, you just
You can give up. That's right.
you just got to go forward. Got to keep pushing, you know.
You've never been much of a quitter, though, have you, Bill?
I don't like to think so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, no one that's got that competitive drive or spirit, they're not going to quit.
Yeah.
I think we all dislike quitters.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Boy's got a lot of quit in him.
Yeah, that's right. Who are the people, I mean, and obviously your parents, but who are the people that have influenced you most, other than your parents, let's say?
Well, I consider, you know, my brother and family and so forth. You know, athletically, there's no question, Ben Finley was a huge influence. And great coach, great person, firm believer in being in shape. I was never, ever in shape as good after high school as I was when I was in high school. But he opened some doors and gave some opportunities. A couple of guys in the military that kind of had my back that I'm very grateful for. So.
I got you. Is there a person in history that you would have liked to have met or would like to meet?
You know, I'm real big on the Constitution and that era of folks back there. I'd like to have met Thomas Jefferson, and I had an opportunity to talk to him and pick his brain.
You have any hobbies?
Oh yeah. Writing right now. I'm trying to develop some skill in doing that.
You do good at that.
Well, thank you. That's there's a trick to it. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is, but it's kind of like you got to write in 3 stages. A good beginning to get your reader hooked, and then tell them something in the middle, and in the end you tie it all together. And it's kind of an art to do that. So that's kind of a hobby. I like carpentry.
Really?
Yeah. And actually, my brother and I built a house in Mississippi, the two of us together. And neither one of us were much of carpenters, but when I was going to go back to law school, I always wanted to build an A-frame house. And I got it started, and he came down there, and we finished it up. That was 1972, and it's still standing.
No kidding.
It's still occupied. So,
Bill, what's the truest sign of success?
being truthful to yourself. That's what I would say.
What characteristic do you admire most in a person?
Honesty.
Have you ever had a biggest disappointment in your life?
Oh yeah. there's some things that in Vietnam, okay,
Yeah.
that if you could undo some things, you'd certainly undo them. And disappointments. Some ball games I would like to play. I always wish you could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg, I've been blessed and been very fortunate. And
let's go some favorites. You have a favorite movie?
not per se. I saw a movie. We watch movies at home now. I guess most people do. I watched As I Lay Dying a few months ago, the Faulkner thing. I really enjoyed that.
You have a favorite TV show?
Right now, Longmire. Did you see Fargo, that series that
I
came
didn't
on?
watch that series.
That was very intriguing.
I've
Very
heard
intriguing.
it is, and I'm going to have to catch that.
Yeah, not the movie now, but the
No,
TV
I know.
series.
Yeah, I saw the movie
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
but I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I do a lot of keeping up on the news on TV. That's principally what I watch, but I like Longmire.
Yeah. I like The Bridge. You ever get a chance?
I haven't seen that yet.
That's
Yeah.
good. I like The Bridge. You have favorite food?
Mosses. Just cover the whole spectrum there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
meat and three.
you like a meat and three. Favorite drink?
Not really. I'll have a beer twice a month probably, but typically drink Coke or Pepsi, something like that.
I got you. Well, that's what I mean. That's it. Whatever. Music?
You've lost me there. Music is a mystery to me. I promise. I could not tell you a genre or whatever you call it that I like or dislike. I was having lunch with my daughter Erin yesterday, and she was bringing up. Actually, there was a sign in the alley. You know where that restaurant is
I know
down
what
there.
you're talking about, yeah.
There's a sign up there by Bob Marley, and I didn't know who Bob Marley was, and I don't know if you do either.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it said,
Reggae.
yeah, and the sign said, some people feel the rain, and other people just get wet. Bob Marley, it was up there, and I said, "Boy, that's interesting." And she said, "Yeah, Bob Marley." And I said, "Well, who the heck is he?" Well, this is reggae music. So, music, I don't know anything about it, but I loved his.
I got you. You liked this quote anyway.
Yeah.
Bill Poland, our guest, Stretch Run, Show 2, right after this.
Thank you. It's the big savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. New Altima or New Frontier, $17,999. Unbelievable. New Rogue, $18,999. New Sentra, $14,999. New Versa, $9,999. Save big on 400 new. You're going to love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home has celebrated legacies with services as unique as each life.
Neil Tarpley Parchman, people who care, a name you can trust.
Hopefully tune in to Heartland Radio, the only locally owned, locally operated radio stations in the area. 105.1 on the FM, WVRY, and the oldest station around, 1400 AM WJZM, Tennessee Vol Sports, Austin Peay Sports, the Atlanta Braves, news, talk, weather, and great music. Solid Gospel 105.1 and 1400 AM WJZM. Tune in. Our guest past 2 weeks, Bill Poland. Bill, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed having you, by the way. Been very interesting. You've had an interesting life, you know. And as you said, you've been blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really have. It's the law offices of William H. Poland. He's a attorney downtown. His daughter Erin is in practice with him. Y'all take, what all cases do you take?
I do mainly personal injury and workers' comp, that type of case, and Erin does some domestic relations and some criminal work, DUIs, burglaries, and things like that.
And you're located on Franklin Street.
408 Franklin Street.
408 Franklin Street. Have you had a favorite place that you visited over the years, Bill?
Jamestown, Virginia.
Jamestown, Virginia.
Where it all started. First English settlement. It was nice to go there and just see how people had to live when they came over 1607 and just see where all this got started.
If you had it all to do over again, would you make any major changes?
Oh, Greg, I can't think of anything right now.
I got you. I understand. We would all have changed something here and there, but overall, life's been pretty good.
Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Tell the family hello.
I'll do that.
Tell brother hello.
I'll do that.
Can he still hit that long ball?
He can swing at it.
Bill Poland, he's been our guest the last 2 weeks. We really do appreciate it. He has had a great life, a great career, quite honestly. I want to thank Steve Sawyer, man behind the scenes, and all of you that tune in and tell your friends, neighbors, and loved ones, and really anyone I know meet or talk with as potential guests. Until next time, have a nice rest of the day, folks.